You do talk about a 6-step system to building a habit. And since we've through this process of talking about so many things, I'd be remiss not to ask you that question.
So the way to start thinking about habit change is to understand that it first starts off, like we said, about our intention. Right? If you don't understand intention, you've not got the reason why you're doing that habit. So like you said, the 3 whys are very important. So it starts off by identifying what those 3 whys are. The second aspect is understanding the 3 golden rules of habit change. What are the 3 golden rules of habit change? The first one is make it stupidly small. Okay. Words are chosen very carefully when you say stupidly small, because the idea is that if you don't do it, you should feel stupid not doing it. It should be so small that you feel stupid not doing it. Right? So that is the second step. The third step is make it extremely easy. Extremely easy. That means you remove the friction from the process. Where many a times what stops us is the friction. That means we have too many excuses for the habit that we want to create. So when you remove friction, we're removing excuses. Every time you create an excuse, that means it is still, friction is there in the system somewhere. The third stage is about consistency, which is never miss 2 days in a row. Okay, so this is, you did a habit on Monday, you did it on Tuesday, Wednesday you missed the habit. Life got in the way, you were ill, you had to go for a wedding, life got in the way. Come what may, Thursday you do the smallest version of that habit. So you can't go to the gym, you'll do 20 push-ups at home, chalega. But that's what you've done to maintain that consistency, so that you know you're the kind of person that is consistent with the habits that come. The fifth thing is to have an accountability partner. Right? If you don't have an accountability partner, what happens is that you don't get that feeling of camaraderie when you're doing this. You feel very alone in this journey of habit change. So which is why the fifth step is having an accountability partner with you, holding you, keeping you accountable, saying that, "Kyun nahi kiya?" Right? How can we make a change in this? Right? Kyun is actually a bad question to ask, but what can we do next time to make this change? And then the last one is review and change. Many times this doesn't take place. So because we've been talking so much about fitness, we'll continue with that example. Many people stagnate in their aesthetic journey, fitness journey. It's because they never reevaluate saying, I've become stronger, I need to do something else. Right? You've plateaued. So you've never gone through that stage of reevaluating and saying, maybe it is time to do something else. Runners hit a plateau because they haven't started weight training. Right? Now, suddenly when they start weight training, they suddenly shoot up. They take a break from running, come back. Their times become better, not increase, decrease. Right? All of this starts taking place when you review and say, maybe this is the shift that I need to make going forward. So if you follow these 6, you know that you're on a healthy journey towards this habit.
And this also is almost like the foundational piece for the coaching program you do, right? If you look
Correct.
at the 180. Awesome 180. And I think one of the interesting things about Awesome 180 is you also kind of talk about what will you kind of get out of it, which you wouldn't necessarily assume, right? I'd love you to talk about that as well.
So Awesome 180 started off when I realized that there are 6 fundamentals to create a foundation for our life. Right? If this foundation is weak, our buildings will tilt to one side. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa that takes place. The 6 foundations are movement and not exercise. Okay. So where we think of, I've worked out for 1 hour, that means I'm an active person. No, if you're sitting for the rest of the time, you're not an active person. So how do you build movement into your daily life? That is one. The second is nutrition, not diet. Okay. So like we were talking about challenges, right? Diets are challenges. Diets are not a way of life. Right? I am on a diet for the next 60 days. I am on a diet for the next 30 days. Chances are you're probably going to be on a diet for 2 days. Yeah. Most people don't last till 30 or 60 days.
Yeah.
Right? So diets are like that. Instead, you have to understand nutrition principles and then decide that these are the principles I will follow. I will not put anything into my mouth unless I know how it was made. Nutrition principle. Right? Like that. I will not put anything into my mouth that came from a factory. Nutrition principle. Those ways. The third is quality of sleep, not quantity. Normally, when you have a conversation about sleep, it is I sleep 8 hours, I sleep 9 hours. But nobody tells you about the quality of the sleep. How well did you sleep for those 9 hours? Right? How well did you sleep for those 6 hours? Improving quality is far better than improving time. Getting the right time for your sleep is important in terms of sleeping at 1 o'clock versus 10 o'clock, but otherwise quality is more important than that. Then after that, we come to our hydration, right? We don't realize that water not only helps in our digestion, but improves our energy flow, right? All these things are critical. We know that 70+% of our body is made up of water. And if we don't focus on the water, what are we actually taking care? We only think I need to drink 3 liters. No, but what is the quality of the water? Where did you store the water? How did you take care of the water before it came into you? Nobody thinks about care of water, right? But you will care for the banana that you're eating, right? You will not have a banana with black spots, correct? And why would you have a water that is not necessarily optimized for you? So that is one way. Then we have breathing, okay? You can live without food for God knows how long. Some breatharians can live forever, right? You can live for water for a few days. But breathing, it's such a fundamental aspect of our life that we are not conscious about. Luckily, in the last 3 years, we become conscious about it only because we get that AQI ka chhapa every day from
on my home screen now. I look
correct.
At it,
Google feed gives us AQI or Apple gives us AQI, which is why we know about our breathing. But till then, we never actually thought about it. And most of us breathe through our mouth. We don't breathe through our nose. We have bad breathing practices. In fact, when you go to a monastery, the first step is they teach you how to breathe. Not breathing meditation, just how to breathe. Then you get to the other aspects of it, right? So that is one. And the final of the 6 pillars is de-stressing, not stress management. Stress management is I can take more stress on, right? I have bigger shoulders, kante bade hai, I can do that. But we're saying de-stressing. That means how do I take the stress and now put it down and continue my journey instead of carrying it with me? Most of us are just carrying stress, right? Most of us are just carrying all this baggage from the past. Do we know how to put it down and continue walking? So it's these 6 fundamentals. Now, most people have 1 or 2 in place, but having 6 in place dramatically changes the way that your life gets structured.
And some of these are like pieces we don't necessarily talk about enough, right? Like de-stressing is something you don't talk about enough. Hydration weirdly gets really relegated to one corner. I feel breathing we're still talking about because of just generally I feel we've all focused a lot more on breath in recent times. Because you get the nutrition, sleep is always there. But hydration for me is the most interesting one because it's like the most basic thing. Like I'm terrible with hydration. It's one of my, I think one of the things I've sat down and said I need to drink more water because I forget. I'll forget drink water and I'll feel parched, and that's when the sugar I realize happens when I'm actually thirsty, and I go for sugar instead of picking up a glass of water. And the more water I drink, the less cravings I have for other things. So most times you're just thirsty.
Correct. So your body can't tell the difference between hunger and thirst. That is step 1. So when we do our intermittent fasting and when we're doing long-term fasting, we first realize that every time you're hungry, you first drink water because chances are that you were thirsty instead. And it is not drink water so that your stomach feels full. No, it is actually that your body was asking for water and you were giving it a sandwich all this while.
Did that make you rethink things? If it did, make sure you check out the full episode.